This is the Form 2 of the Engenius ELT test. Check that you have the correct form. Open your test booklet to page 1. On this test, you will hear different voices. You will hear these teachers.
I am a teacher, you will hear.
I am another teacher, you will hear.
You will also hear these students.
I am a student, you will hear.
I am another student, you will hear.
Now, turn the page. Part 1. Follow classroom directions, questions 1 through 4. In this part of the test, you will look at a picture and hear a teacher give 3 different directions to students in a class. Choose the directions, A, B, or C, that the students in the picture have followed. Then, fill in the correct circle on your answer sheet. Let's do sample A together. Listen carefully. A.
Discuss in your group and write down the answer on the handout.
B.
Don't copy your friend's assignment, or points will be deducted.
C.
Do the quiz individually and submit the answer sheet to the teacher by 3 p.m.
Now, fill in a circle. If you chose A, discuss in your group and write down the answer on the handout, you are correct. Get ready to do question numbers 1 to 4. Now, we will begin. Number 1.
A. Please submit the handout to me by the end of the class. B. Good job. Now, help each other design the other part here on screen. C. I'd like you to show your group's model to the class. Please bring it here.
Number 2.
A. Watch the clip and summarize the main points. B. I can't see the video. Let me contact the technician. C. Please give your friend a big hand for her great presentation.
Number 3.
A. Do not cheat, or you will fail the course. B. Everyone, let's move the tables apart for the exam. C. Today's lesson is how to prepare for the upcoming exam.
Number 4.
A. All right, Bob first. What's your question? B. Click the symbol of the raised hand if you have any questions. C. I can't hear you well. Could you please explain that part again?
Now, turn the page. Part 2. Comprehend mathematical language, questions 5 through 8. In this part of the test, you will hear several math word problems. You will hear each word problem 2 times. After you hear each word problem, look at the 3 expressions and choose the one that matches the word problem you heard. Then, fill in the correct circle on your answer sheet. Let's do sample B together.
To convert temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, you have to subtract 32 from the degrees Fahrenheit and then multiply by 0.5556. For example, when you would like to convert 50 degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius, you have to subtract 32 from 50 and multiply by 0.5556. Which expression should you use?
Listen again.
To convert temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius, you have to subtract 32 from the degrees Fahrenheit and then multiply by 0.5556. For example, when you would like to convert 50 degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius, you have to subtract 32 from 50 and multiply by 0.5556. Which expression should you use?
Now, fill in a circle. If you chose C, the third expression, you are correct. Get ready to do question numbers 5 to 8. Now, we will begin. Number 5.
Ava has 4 bags with 3 marbles in each bag. John has 3 bags with 5 marbles in each bag. How many more marbles does John have? You can calculate this by multiplying the number of bags and marbles of each person, which is to multiply 4 by 3 for Ava and multiply 3 by 5 for John. Then, you subtract Ava's result from that of John's. Which expression should you use?
Listen again.
Ava has 4 bags with 3 marbles in each bag. John has 3 bags with 5 marbles in each bag. How many more marbles does John have? You can calculate this by multiplying the number of bags and marbles of each person, which is to multiply 4 by 3 for Ava and multiply 3 by 5 for John. Then, you subtract Ava's result from that of John's. Which expression should you use?
Number 6.
Pete earns 200 baht per hour from delivering food regardless of the number of orders. He does this job 3 days a week, 4 hours per day. He can calculate how much money he will earn each month, which means 4 weeks, by multiplying all the numbers together. Which expression does he use?
Listen again.
Pete earns 200 baht per hour from delivering food regardless of the number of orders. He does this job 3 days a week, 4 hours per day. He can calculate how much money he will earn each month, which means 4 weeks, by multiplying all the numbers together. Which expression does he use?
Number 7.
Natty wants to invite 20 friends to her birthday. This will cost her parents a total of 5,000 baht. However, only 4/5 of her friends can join the party. How much money will it cost? Natty can calculate this by dividing 5,000 by 20 to find the cost per person. Then, multiply that result by the real number of people who can come, which is 4/5 of 20. Which expression should she use?
Listen again.
Natty wants to invite 20 friends to her birthday. This will cost her parents a total of 5,000 baht. However, only 4/5 of her friends can join the party. How much money will it cost? Natty can calculate this by dividing 5,000 by 20 to find the cost per person. Then, multiply that result by the real number of people who can come, which is 4/5 of 20. Which expression should she use?
Number 8.
Laura would like to calculate the total amount of interest she will get this year. She has two accounts with different interest rates. She gets 1.5% from the first account, where she can maintain a 10,500 baht deposit throughout the year. She gets another 2% from the second account of 21,400 baht. The calculation is easy. She simply adds the interest amounts of both accounts together. The interest of the first account is 10,500 multiplied by 0.015, and for the second account, it is 21,400 multiplied by 0.02. Which expression does she use?
Listen again.
Laura would like to calculate the total amount of interest she will get this year. She has two accounts with different interest rates. She gets 1.5% from the first account, where she can maintain a 10,500 baht deposit throughout the year. She gets another 2% from the second account of 21,400 baht. The calculation is easy. She simply adds the interest amounts of both accounts together. The interest of the first account is 10,500 multiplied by 0.015, and for the second account, it is 21,400 multiplied by 0.02. Which expression does she use?
Part 3. Understand classroom dialogue, questions 9 through 17. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear conversations between a teacher and a student in a class. After you hear each conversation, you will answer some questions about what you heard. Fill in the correct circle on your answer sheet. Let's listen to the first conversation.
What can be used to differentiate identical twins? I learned that they even share the same DNA.
You're right. Identical twins are born from the same egg and sperm, so they share the same DNA. However, their fingerprints are always unique.
I see. How come all of us have different fingerprints?
Well, that's thanks to nature. Fingerprints are formed in weeks 10 to 15 when the fetus is in the womb, and the patterns of the fingerprints are influenced by the environment in there. For example, the blood pressure of the mother while pregnant, the density of some of the fluid in the womb, or how the fetus is moving around inside the womb.
That's amazing. So, there must be a million fingerprint patterns.
Yes, that's right. However, there are 3 different major patterns of fingerprints.
What are they?
The first one is loops, which can point towards the thumb or the little finger. The second one is called whorls, which includes several configurations of circular or spiral patterns. Finally, arches are wave-like. This type, arches, is the rarest pattern, while loops are the most common type.
Now, let's do question numbers 9 through 11. Number 9. What are the teacher and the student mainly discussing? A. Types and the formation of fingerprints. B. How identical twins share the same DNA. C. How people's fingerprints can be differentiated. Now, fill in a circle. Number 10. Which one does not influence fingerprint patterns? A. The density of fluid in the womb. B. The blood pressure of one's mother. C. The surroundings where a child is raised. Now, fill in a circle. Number 11. What is the most common type of fingerprints? A. Loops. B. Whorls. C. Arches. Now, fill in a circle. Now, let's listen to the second conversation.
You've been playing basketball for years, but I've never asked you this. Who's your favorite player?
I like many people, but the most iconic basketball player for me is Michael Jordan. He has been many things: a basketball player, a baseball player, and an owner of a league franchise. But as you know, he's most famous for his career as a basketball player. He was my inspiration. When I was a kid, I loved watching his games, and then I started playing basketball.
I like him too. I have heard a lot about him, so I searched and watched some of his previous games. Unfortunately, he has retired, so I don't get to watch him play live.
Apart from his skills on the court, his personal life is also interesting.
Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. He was interested in basketball but didn't get to be on his school team at first because he was not that tall. He turned his attention to baseball instead. However, as a late developer, he grew to 6 feet 3 inches and was an important part of the team when he was in his junior year.
I see.
He was very successful as a basketball player until his dad was murdered in 1993. He temporarily stopped playing and later had some gambling issues. However, he found his way back to the basketball court and continued to play before retiring at the age of 40.
Now, let's do question numbers 12 through 14. Number 12. What is the conversation about? A. The personal life of Michael Jordan. B. How Michael Jordan became a successful businessman. C. Michael Jordan and his untold career as a baseball player. Now, fill in a circle. Number 13. Why did Michael Jordan decide to play baseball instead of basketball? A. He was not in his junior year yet. B. He found that he was better at playing baseball. C. He was not tall enough to join the basketball team. Now, fill in a circle. Number 14. Which of the following was not one of his difficulties in life? A. He got divorced. B. His dad was killed. C. He had gambling issues. Now, fill in a circle. Now, let's listen to the third conversation.
This semester, you'll get to choose children's literature to read. You will write me a report which includes a summary and a reflection. You can choose from the list here.
Excuse me, Mr. Jones. I don't see Harry Potter on the list. Can I read it?
Well, of course, you can read it for pleasure, but not for this classwork. Anyway, talking about Harry Potter, I have a question to ask you. Is Harry Potter children's literature?
From the definition of children's literature, you told us last time. Yes, it can be considered children's literature, except that each book seems to be quite long compared with other children's literature.
You're right. This is one of the reasons why people think Harry Potter changed the world of children's literature. Traditionally, a children's book would be about 170 pages long. However, since the first Harry Potter book was over 300 pages and was still very popular, the size of other children's books now has increased to about 290 pages minimum.
That's a lot. I just enjoyed reading the Harry Potter series without counting the pages.
I know. Apart from setting the new size of books, Harry Potter created a boom in young adult reading and opened the market for longer young adult book series.
I totally agree. I love reading more and can read for longer after reading Harry Potter.
Barnes & Noble, the famous bookshop, has seen a trend in longer series, as in more than 3 books, in young adults' literature.
Now, let's do question numbers 15 through 17. Number 15. What are the teacher and the student mainly discussing? A. Top 10 children's books of all time. B. The definition of children's literature. C. How Harry Potter changed the world of children's literature. Now, fill in a circle. Number 16. How long have children's books on average become after the popularity of Harry Potter? A. About 70 to 90 pages. B. Less than 200 pages. C. 290 pages or more. Now, fill in a circle. Number 17. What was the trend in the children's book market begun by Harry Potter? A. Longer series of books. B. Books containing more fantasy. C. More books with children as main characters. Now, fill in a circle. Part 4. Listen and respond to academic lectures, questions 18 through 24. Directions. In this part of the test, you will hear a teacher talking to a class. After you hear each talk, you will answer some questions about what you heard. Fill in the correct circle on your answer sheet. Let's listen to the first talk.
Oceanography or ocean science is the study of the ocean. There are many branches in this area, but in today's brief talk, I'd like to discuss a few key branches, what oceanographers study in each branch, and each branch's importance. Let's get started, shall we? One of the most important branches nowadays is biological oceanography. It is the study of plants and animals and their connections in marine biology. For example, there have been some studies about the effects of pollutants on fish populations or how the changing ocean affects specific kinds of plankton. The knowledge from studies like these could help us warn people of possible health risks from consuming fish or create better policies for controlling or reducing pollution. Apart from the study of living organisms, there's another branch called geological oceanography that focuses on the physical aspect of the ocean, which means the formation of the seafloor and how it changes over time. Scientists in this field use special GPS technology to create a map of the seafloor and other underwater structures. This could lead to more accurate predictions of earthquakes and tsunamis. Another interesting branch is chemical oceanography. It is the study of chemical substances in seawater and how they are affected by weather, human activities, and some other factors. The results can be used to understand how the sea currents move around the world and to identify some useful resources from the marine environment.
Now, let's do question numbers 18 through 21. Number 18. What is the main idea of the talk? A. Key characteristics of oceanographers. B. Biological and geological oceanography. C. The importance and key branches of oceanography. Now, fill in a circle. Number 19. What can be studied in biological oceanography? A. Seafloor. B. Fish and plankton. C. Pollution control policies. Now, fill in a circle. Number 20. What is the importance of studying physical structures of the ocean? A. To better predict some disasters. B. To make an accurate seafloor map. C. To develop some special technologies. Now, fill in a circle. Number 21. We can identify some useful resources in the ocean by A. Studying the currents of the sea. B. Studying the effects of pollution on fish. C. Studying chemical components in seawater. Now, fill in a circle. Now, let's listen to the second conversation.
I'm sure all of you have felt that one particular song is more beautiful than others. You like this song, but don't like that song. Well, we may say that the beauty of music lies in the ears of the listener. It's a personal preference after all, right? However, in music theory, studies show that there are some factors that make great melodies. Firstly, great melodies often use repetition. When you see the word repetition, you may ask, isn't that boring? Well, not when it comes to music. Studies show that repetition helps us identify meaningful musical patterns and tends to guide us towards imagining the next note before it comes. We usually hear the same set of melodies repeated over and over in a song through its verses and hooks in pop music nowadays, and in classical music, too. The second factor is that great melodies often use a limited number of tones. There is actually a subset of 12 possible tones for a composer. However, in most Western classical and Chinese music, only 5 to 7 tones are used in a song. This corresponds to a study by a neuroscientist that human short-term memory can store up to 5 to 7 items. Therefore, using 5 to 7 tones is enough to keep us interested and is not too challenging for us to listen to, versus if there were too many different tones all at once. The third factor I'd like to share with you today is the climactic point of melodies. Climactic points can be, for example, high notes, a long duration, or a strong beat. It is like the focus of the melodies. Climactic points will give a sense of purpose to the song and make it memorable. There can be more than one climactic point in a song. A successful climactic point will likely make the listeners return to the song.
Now, let's do question numbers 22 through 24. Number 22. What is the main idea of the talk? A. What makes great melodies? B. Factors affecting personal preference of songs. C. A comparison between Western and Chinese music. Now, fill in a circle. Number 23. Why is melody repetition recommended in songs? A. It helps the listeners remember the lyrics better when singing. B. It was used in classical music, so it is an effective technique to follow. C. It helps listeners recognize musical patterns and imagine the following note. Now, fill in a circle. Number 24. Which of the following is not suggested when composing songs? A. Using about 5 to 7 tones in a verse. B. Having more than one climactic point in a song. C. Adding a melody focal point using a high note or a strong beat. Now, fill in a circle. You have now completed the listening section. Now, we are ready to begin the reading test. Please stop the recording now.